Hey there, and thanks for joining us with the 10 Weather Impact Show. I'm meteorologist Justin Gehrts. Yes, we have that weather impact alert coming up for the overnight hours. Active weather is going to be coming our way very soon, so that'll be something that we have to keep in mind as we go into the overnight hours. As far as the timing goes, as we've been watching since we last joined you during their noon show, timing remains pretty much the same. Looks like mainly after 7 o'clock this evening, starting off in our northern towns. Then later, as those storms roll off toward the south, looks like in the Columbus area, maybe close to about 9, 10 o'clock perhaps, based on how things are looking as of 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon. Of course, it is going to be the strong storms impact for us, as we'll probably see some areas of gusty winds, perhaps hail, heavy rain. There's also the off chance of a brief tornado, especially in our northern towns before those storms really combine into a big line. What I want you to do, stay updated. Get that 10 TV Plus app on your, of course, on your phone, your TV, as you can follow along with our severe weather coverage into the evening and overnight hours. Here is that latest severe weather outlook. You see areas generally near and north of I-70 in that level 3 risk of severe weather in that orange color. Here's what we're watching. Again, mainly the gusty winds, because it is going to be a line of storms, and those tend to favor gusty winds, especially early on. I think as the night goes on, that wind and just general severe weather risk does diminish some, but that initial line will be watching for the gusty winds, also the potential for some hail. As I mentioned, there is a low chance of a brief tornado in our northern towns. I think the better chance is going to be in northwestern Ohio into Indiana, but I can't rule out that activity perhaps encroaching into central Ohio. Also watching for that flooding potential, those typical trouble spots, I'm thinking, where we could see maybe as much as a couple of inches of rain in some localized spots. So if you have areas that when there's heavy rain tend to be an issue, there'll probably be an issue coming up during the nighttime hours. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. For the afternoon, we just have passing clouds. The daytime hours are looking pretty quiet the way things are shaping up so far. Here's 5 p.m., still not much going on. Activity is still well off to our north. We'll pause here at 8 o'clock in the evening. There you see some of these lines of thunderstorms are rolling off toward the south. This is the initial line that I think has the best chance of being strong to severe. As we pause here at 10 o'clock, it's roughly lined up near Interstate 70. And again, bear in mind, the timing of this could shift a bit depending on when and where those storms eventually do develop this evening. But this is the best estimation at this point. That initial line rolls off toward the south, but then we'll see additional thunderstorms develop. These may not have as much of a severe weather punch because they're going to be behind the cold front. It'll be harder, say, for the gusty winds that are not too far aloft to break down to the surface, but we'll still watch for that potential for strong storms. It looks like it'll mainly transition over to mostly just heavy rain. Here's 3 o'clock in the morning, still seeing that lined up across the region, slowly pushing off toward the south. 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The farther south you are, the better your chances of seeing some rain. Could even be on the northern fringe of it before things shut down. Maybe a wet snowflake trying to mix in as that colder air filters in. All this activity is long gone by lunchtime, though, and we'll probably start to see some breaks in the clouds later in the afternoon into the evening. More clearing, though, takes place into tomorrow night. As far as how much rainfall to expect, it looks like a lot of us are probably going to get at least an inch of rain. Some localized amounts may push 2 inches, and again, where that happens, those trouble spots that happen to pop up where you have the heavy rain, keep that in mind in the late overnight hours. Now, outside any thunderstorms this afternoon, we're still going to have some pretty strong breezes going on. They'll be out of the southwest to west-southwest, gusting as high as 30, 35 miles an hour. They'll wind down a little bit this evening, but it is going to be a breezy afternoon, and with that sunshine, it's really pushing those temperatures up quite a bit. This afternoon, we have 72 in Columbus with those southwest winds coming in. You notice, though, those little streamlines here, they kind of kink right here. That's our cold front. You can see the cooler temperatures behind it, now in the 30s and 40s across portions of Wisconsin and Michigan. That's the colder air that's coming our direction. That's what's really helping prompt these thunderstorms as we go into the overnight hours. Big drop in temperatures tomorrow as well, from 78 today to 45 tomorrow, 48 Saturday. So some cool days, yes, although Saturday comes with sunshine. That'll help. We do rebound, though, back into the 60s Sunday and Monday, and probably 70s toward the middle of next week. So again, for today, quiet during much of the daytime hours. It's mainly after sunset that we see the storms fire up. Record high is 80. We'll be around 78 today with those breezy southwest winds. Tonight, thunderstorms, late night low of 37 degrees. It'll take some time to get there. Then as we go into tomorrow morning, we're going to be seeing those areas of rain continue. Wrapping up by mid-morning, I would say. 45 is the high with a mostly cloudy sky. 48 Saturday, despite the sunshine. Also, cold Saturday morning, 27, so a hard freeze is likely. Still frosty Sunday morning with 32 for a low, but 61 in the afternoon. Up to 69 on Monday, and mid-70s are on the way toward the middle of next week. We're also going to be seeing some intermittent rain chances as some disturbances work across the region. Still some questions on the exact timing of that, but it is something we'll keep an eye on as we go forward. But for right now, main focus is on tonight. And of course, you'll want to stay with us here on 10 TV because we will be covering that on 10 TV Plus, streaming any sort of severe weather coverage on your phone, online, on your TV. So make sure you're all prepared with that. Now, of course, we have the active weather, but we're not the only ones who've been dealing with the heavy rain and some flooding. Now, this spring over in Hawaii, they're still picking up pieces from the major flooding on the island. Crews on Tuesday began evaluating damage and cleaning debris from a surprise downpour that sent floodwaters raging through a neighborhood near downtown Honolulu, the latest bout in a series of storms and flooding that have pummeled the state over the past couple of weeks. Residents along Oahu's North Shore were cleaning up from the worst flooding to hit Hawaii in 2 decades when a storm unleashed several inches of rain late Monday in the Manoa Valley, east of downtown Honolulu on the southern part of the island. We've been dealing with all sorts of mess there recently. Muddy torrents gushed along roads and swamped much of the neighborhood, and Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi toured Manoa neighborhood on Tuesday to assess the damage. He told news crews the following, quote, "We want to recover as fast as we can," and quote, "All I can do is tell people we're here to do whatever we can for them." Residents in Waialua area of Oahu were also hit hard and are assessing the damage. Hawaii News Now reporter Dylan Anchetta shows how these storms damaged many residents' homes both inside and out.
We were with the Lucero Ohana as they got a look at their home for the very first time since the worst of the flooding, and they were absolutely floored with the damage and devastation both outside and inside their home. Their house is on stilts, but still over a foot of water made it inside. They were overcome with emotion seeing all of the damage. Some items belong to Jasmine Lucero's late father, Lorenzo, a military veteran who died in 2020.
My dad was a collector, and he loved antiques very much, and just seeing that, this was like the first thing I really noticed from one of his, and that was really shocking.
His widow also clutching to memories and items he left behind.
And I had a whole tub of all his stuff waiting on the side, and you know, one of those things you say, okay, I'll put it in, I'll put it back in the house, and yeah, it's too late now, it's gone.
I know things are replaceable, but it's just really hard to see this for the first time.
This family was among many North Shore residents who were finally let back into the area Saturday afternoon. Many people spent the day shoveling mud and assessing damage to homes and businesses. Water has started to recede, revealing this storm's sheer power, like at Otake Camp, where the remnants of a home that was swept into a bridge remain untouched 2 days after the most intense flooding. And just around the corner from where that house smashed into the bridge, this cinder block wall was simply pushed over in the floodwaters. And take a look at this. The waters were also so strong that this 2-story house was pushed right off of its foundation blocks. Mayor Blangiardi also got a bird's eye view of the damage, assessing it from above in an HFD helicopter. Down at the beach side, this is water you're definitely not going to want to swim in. It looks like chocolate milk as a result of all of the runoff after the rain the last few days. As some residents remain without power, Mayor Blangiardi encourages those who still need help to reach out to the city via the 311 hotline. Dylan Anchetta, Hawaii News Now.
Yeah, it seems we can't catch a break from the meteor videos this week with yet another meteor coming down over parts of Ohio earlier this week. Check this out. New video from the Ohio Turnpike shows another meteor flying over the Buckeye State. This happened Monday night around 9:30 in northwest Ohio near Toledo. Comes just a week after a meteor caused a sonic boom over northeast Ohio and crashed through a roof down in Houston, Texas. So a couple of instances there. Several other meteors have also been reported recently in Texas and in Michigan. Of course, I feel like this is one of those things that, once we pay attention to it, we're going to catch it a lot more often now. And as we turn from the Earth to the moon, NASA is laying out a plan to build a permanent base on the moon. The agency says the goal is to strengthen U.S. leadership in space. The plan includes more frequent missions, initially targeting landings every 6 months. It'll roll out in phases, starting with robotic missions, then building infrastructure, and later long-term stays on the moon. Crewed moon missions are set to begin next year. All right, now to a high-stakes move with some very unusual cargo. In a world first, scientists have successfully taken antimatter for a test drive, a breakthrough that could unlock new insights into the universe. Researchers hauled a cloud of 92 antiprotons trapped in a super cold container 6 miles across the world's largest physics lab in Switzerland. Scientists then monitored the cosmic cargo every step of the way, making sure it did not collide with regular matter and get destroyed.
Everything went well here, so no disaster, no particle loss. So really, success.
Those researchers say that the test is a first step towards safely moving antimatter to other labs where they can study it more closely to help explain why matter, which is all the stuff around us, even exists in the first place. And one more out-of-this-world story. Right now, a new exhibit at COSI is digging into myths. It's a change up from a lot of science you'll find there. 10 TV's Meredith Garfalo went to check it out.
We've been going through March Madness, but if we want to take our minds off of that and focus a little bit on science, that's really cool, by the way. Coming out to COSI, this month's segment, we're going to talk about how science actually combines with parts of history, and especially when it comes to myths. So I have Kelly Kinzig here from COSI. We are looking at mythic creatures. This is a new exhibit that people can check out.
It is. This exhibit is here from the American Museum of Natural History, and it's
cool.
super beautiful.
Look at this first off. Wow.
It's all about dragons and mermaids and unicorns, and it really talks about how the natural world and myths are so tightly interwoven together.
And there's science
There's
in it.
science involved. So as we go through here into this next part of the exhibit, this is the underwater part of the exhibit. So throughout the years, there have been stories passed down about creatures that lived underwater. Here,
You saw them in our favorite movies.
yeah.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yes. So these
The Little
stories,
Mermaid,
these movies have perpetuated all of these stories. And we're in front of the mysterious Kraken here.
Wow.
And there are some stories that sailors created years ago saying that these were as big as ships.
That's terrifying,
Now,
by the way.
we know that's probably a myth.
Yeah.
But it was inspired from real life animals.
Okay, that's
like
cool.
giant squids who had tentacles, and they probably saw these creatures, and they made this a story that was larger than life about the giant Kraken.
Now, I know a mythical creature I think of when I think of the water is mermaids, and you have that as part of the exhibit, too.
Oh, of course.
Okay, let's check it out.
So that's still in our underwater section, and we
Okay.
have lots of art and stories to show how those have been passed down through the years. And as we move over here, we are going into the land section. So
So from water, because that's the first that goes down beneath our feet.
Sure.
So now we're at the land.
now we're at the land. So
And I love unicorns, by the way.
yes, so unicorns have been known over the years to be magical, right? Everyone loves a good unicorn. And oftentimes these, as we were just saying, these mythical creatures are inspired by real living creatures. So maybe part horse, part narwhal. That may have been passed down. So we actually have a narwhal tusk, a model of it over here on the wall to show how merchants may have sold that, saying it was a unicorn horn.
That's fascinating. And you think a lot of these myths also are in the air. So you also have a part of the exhibit that features on the wings or the flights.
Absolutely. So as we move over here into the air creatures, sorry, we'll keep going this way.
Wait, let's stop here really quick. No, we have to talk about fossils because the scientist in me is like really fast. This is part of the land exhibit?
Yes, exactly. So if you think about these myths and how they came to be, many years ago, people may have also discovered fossils and not knowing what they were. Thousands of years ago, they may have seen an elephant skull and been like, what was this? This must have been a cyclops. This is clearly the eye socket where an eyeball was, right? But of course, as science has evolved, we know that that is not true. It's actually an elephant skull. That's where the trunk would have been.
I feel like we're myth busting here at COSI.
Right, exactly.
All right, really quick before we wrap things up, because we want people to come and see the whole thing. Let's go to the air. And I mean, look at these things on the ceiling. I mean, I'm a little nervous.
This is the mythical rock.
Woo.
Yeah, thank goodness that those things aren't real, right?
Yes.
And you can also see the Chinese dragon here at the end. And through this exhibit really ties in culture as well.
I love that too.
To show how Asian dragons were very different than European dragons, and they meant different things as well.
I love that. So if people want to see it, how long is this exhibit here at COSI, and is it part of the general admission?
This is here through Labor Day, through September 7th, and
Wonderful.
it is included in general admission.
Well, I love it. I love how we're taking science, and it's a different branch of science that you can get with your experience while you're here at COSI.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Kelly, and come on out and check out the mythic creatures. You never know what you're going to find, and if it's myth or truth.
All All right, thanks so much. And finally today, let's check out some new video here into us at 10 TV. First up, more amazing video of one of the wildfires we first showed you on this show yesterday. This is the Unified Fire, a 500-acre fire burning near a highway in Valencia County, New Mexico. As of Wednesday evening, the fire was still 0% contained. That fire broke out Tuesday morning and forced the highway to close. The cause of that fire is under investigation. And check out this moment captured on camera, the rescue of a woman stuck on a cliff face overlooking San Francisco's Ocean Beach on Wednesday afternoon. Firefighters first dropped a rescue cable for her to secure herself. Then a firefighter then rappelled down to strap and harness a helmet on the woman. Crews were able to walk her safely up the cliff. Yeah, that would have been me too. She was evaluated in an ambulance, unclear if she fell or climbed down the cliff. I have tried rock climbing just at a rock climbing wall, like in a gym before, and no thank you. So yeah, that would be a pretty scary time there. But for those who are experienced, I know it's a thrill, but I personally, I'll just stay on the ground here. Of course, want to recap on what to expect coming up the rest of the daytime hours. Looking just fine, just warm and breezy with highs in the upper 70s. It's as we get after sunset, the best chance of some thunderstorms begins to move into the area, mainly after 7 p.m. We are going to be watching for those strong storms. Looks like wind and hail are going to be the main things that we want you to stay aware of. Also heavy rain as the night goes on, so some of those trouble spots where we typically have some of the flooding issues, keep that in mind in the late night hours. You want to stay with us here on 10TV.com, 10TV Plus. Any streaming will be here taking care of you, so we'll be all set to make sure that you are ready for those storms as they roll on in here. Tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning, we will be here. All right, well, that's it for us with this weather update here on 10 TV Plus. Coming up later on, starting at 4 o'clock, Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer will be in, letting you know what to expect the latest with the severe weather, and he'll be around throughout the afternoon and evening to provide the latest coverage. Have a great afternoon.